What is considered healthy, but is actually bad for you? Story 1. Americans' obsession with calling themselves Irish American, Italian American, etc. Unless your parent was born there, then you are nothing but an American. Some of the xenophobia I see on here from people who call themselves Irish American is toxic as fuck and obsessive. Story 2. Smoothies. They aren't always bad, but our bodies aren't meant to absorb those vitamins in blended form. It's akin to drinking shittons of water to hydrate. It won't be absorbed by our body fully if it's just in that form. Eat veggies to stay hydrated, chew fruits and veg for vitamins. Tummies need to process certain things slowly. Story 3. One example of something often considered healthy, but potentially bad for you, is fruit juice. While fruit juice contains vitamins and minerals found in whole fruits, it's often stripped of fiber during processing and can be very high in sugar. Drinking excessive amounts of fruit juice can contribute to weight gain, tooth decay, and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. It's generally better to consume whole fruits, which contain fiber and are more filling, or to dilute fruit juice with water to reduce its sugar content. Story 4. Very self-centered pursuits of chasing health and limited perspective of health becomes unhealthy when it's based in avoiding what is painful, an unwillingness to accept, for example, loneliness, aging, etc., and we close our hearts and separate ourselves, and we struggle, which creates more pain and more separation. The answer is to allow and see the pain, open our hearts, and that starts a deeper process of healing and coming together, which is the true health we seek. Story 5. Dieting. We make it sound like all ways of dieting are healthy and a good thing when really a fairly small amount of it is. Most people who diet end up with more weight gain than weight lost in the end. It wrecks the balance in your organs and it creates an immense amount of eating disorder. If not accompanied correctly, dieting is usually so unhealthy. Story 6. Just go to the gym, just start. This ruined my back. I thought it would be okay because everyone has to start somewhere, and I wasn't lifting any heavy weights or doing any exercises like deadlifts that are known to be risky. Turns out, if you don't exercise with proper posture, you can and probably will irreversibly. I'd rather have not started at all than be dealing with the issues I am now. And to be clear, I'm not saying don't exercise. In saying the barrier to entry is higher than people say it is. Start with a PT or do not start at all. Story 7. Detox products. Marketing stuff as detox this and detox that, but none of those products do anything to detox. Those teas, candies, and pills are basically laxatives, sometimes even containing other ingredients not listed on the box like caffeine and other medicinal herbs to counterbalance the negative effects. The only way to detox is to take care of your liver, kidneys, and spleen. Drink water. It'll be better for you. Story 8. Most carbohydrates. In situations of famine, they can provide important nourishment, but in a modern society, they don't serve a huge purpose. They are mostly just sugar your body doesn't need. You need dietary fats. You need dietary protein. There is zero need for dietary carbohydrates. Story 9. Too much vitamin A. Did you know you can overdose on it? It is a reason why you should never eat polar bear liver, because it has tons of vitamin A, and it is enough to kill you. Not that you would eat a polar beet, would you? Story 10. Raw vegan. Any diet that you have to take a whole bunch of supplements to get missing vitamins and nutrients that you're not getting is terrible and not sustainable long term. I'm not talking about if you have a health issue. Story 11. Only eating a small amount of calories a day when you're trying to lose weight. I see too many people who are 300 pounds starting with 1,600 calories a day, which is not nearly enough to even fuel their body. If you eat too little, you'll for sure lose weight, but you'll also have low energy. You'll always be hungry. And weight loss will be miserable. You'll plateau and most likely binge eat. Slowly reducing calories and making small changes over time will make the weight loss much slower, but more manageable, and create more long-term success. Also, if you're fat, high-impact exercises like jogging can be painful and harmful on your joints depending on your body. Story 12. Eating way less than you normally do if you are overweight and try to lose weight. Just because you have a lot of fat doesn't mean you do not need food. You can't starve yourself. Yes, you should eat in a calorie deficit, but you still need enough to not starve. Story 13. A lot of times when people decide they're going to start eating healthy, they cut out a lot of stuff. Processed food, animal products, dairy, gluten, nightshades, grains, oils, iodized salt, etc. There are a myriad of things that people will cut out in the name of health, often without a solid reason. The unhealthy part of it all is that they can easily get into nutritional deficits. Back when they were eating unhealthy, they would have been consuming a lot of fortified food, as well as the nutrients in the food groups that have been cut out. With a restricted diet and no backstop of fortification, there can easily be giant holes in your diet. Story 14. Like 60% of all diet advice, with another 35% being health neutral. The diet industry's constructed an entire pseudoscientific theory of health centered around avoiding toxins and chemicals. And even when you dig through that, you still find that everything treats less weight is good as something axiomatically good, rather than something that may be true for some people, and now eating disorders are everywhere. Story 15. Being put on a preventative diet as a child. I was 8, looking at my pictures from then. I looked like a pretty healthy weight, despite what I thought at the time. My mom had recently gotten diagnosed with prediabetes, so she put me on a low-carb diet. It gave me a complex about food, and if I was overeating before, it definitely got worse. Then I started purging. Then I started restricting severely, and I've been binging consistently and purging on and off since. If you're trying to prevent childhood obesity, diabetes, don't do something that could give the kid a scarcity complex related to food and make them feel like they need it more than they actually do. I didn't even realize why I started binging until recently, when I was thinking a lot about my mom's impact on my relationship with food. Story 16. One example of something that is commonly considered healthy, but can be bad for you in excess, is fruit juice. Many people perceive fruit juice as a nutritious beverage due to its association with fruits and the presence of vitamins. However, most fruit juices available in the market are heavily processed and contain high amounts of added sugars. Drinking fruit juice in moderation can be part of a balanced diet, providing some essential nutrients like vitamin C and potassium. However, excessive consumption of fruit juice can lead to various health issues. High sugar content. Fruit juice often contains concentrated sugars, which can contribute to weight gain, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Lack of fiber. Unlike whole fruits, fruit juice lacks the fiber found in the fruit's pulp and skin. Fiber helps regulate blood sugar levels, promotes satiety, and supports digestive health. Without fiber, the sugar in fruit juice can be absorbed more rapidly, leading to blood sugar spikes. Dental problems. The high sugar content in fruit juice can contribute to tooth decay and cavities, especially if consumed frequently or sipped throughout the day. Caloric intake. Drinking fruit juice can add significant calories to your diet without providing the same feeling of fullness as whole fruits. This can lead to an increase in overall calorie intake, potentially contributing to weight gain. Nutrient imbalance. Relying on fruit juice as a primary source of fruit servings may lead to an imbalance in nutrient intake, as it lacks the diverse array of nutrients found in whole fruits and vegetables. To maintain a healthy diet, it's essential to consume fruit juice in moderation and prioritize whole fruits and vegetables as the primary sources of vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber. Opting for freshly squeezed or 100% fruit juice without added sugars can also mitigate some of the negative health effects associated with processed fruit juice. Additionally, it's important to stay hydrated with water as the primary beverage choice. Story 17. For some reason, there is a logical fallacy that adding stuff to your diet, aka way of eating, is magically healthy, when the problem probably lies with what you are already eating and doing. Examples. Adding fruit, vegetables, or protein to a meal doesn't automatically make it healthy, unless it's replacing a percent of calories, but adding it on top of usual calories makes almost no difference, and is in fact just adding fancy calories. Healthy food only works when it's replacing less healthy food on a very consistent basis. People use health foods, superfoods, or fruit-veg as a cancel food, but the body doesn't work like that. If I eat fruit and veg, it cancels some of the negative effects of McDonald's, but it isn't a zero-sum. To make your lifestyle healthier, you need to replace less desirable habits, habitually, long-term. Story 18. Body cleanses, as in restricting your intake to a solution that is purported to cleanse the impurities out of your body as it moves through it. I'm sure others can explain it better, but our livers and kidneys do an excellent job every day of cleansing our systems, and aside from drinking lots of water, they don't need any help. I guess it's so people can feel virtuous, like they're doing something great for themselves when they go on these fasting purges. Many experts say they're not that healthy for you. Story 19. Certainly. How about flavored yogurt? While it's promoted as a nutritious choice, many flavored yogurts contain high amounts of added sugars. The enjoyable taste may mask the unhealthy aspect, leading people to consume them regularly without realizing the potential negative impact on their health. Story 20. Abs or just being extremely cut. People have been fooled into believing an in shape or healthy is one that has abs and very visible muscles. All that means is that your body fat percent is low enough that your muscles can be seen better. We in fact need body and are supposed to have a small layer over your muscles. Especially women, it's so scary to see a woman with extremely defined abs. Story 21. Sweetened yogurt or oatmeal, which tend to be loaded with added sugar, turning a nutritious breakfast into a sugary treat. Fruit juice instead of whole fruit. While fruit has vitamins, juice concentrates the sugar and removes fiber, making it less healthy. Granola bars, which are often packed with sugar and unhealthy fats, despite seeming like a wholesome snack. Deli meats that are often loaded with sodium, nitrates, and nitrites, which have been linked to an increased risk of heart disease and cancer. Opt for lean, freshly sliced meats whenever possible instead of these. Story 22, weirdly specific example, but I think there are a lot of foods like this, so it kind of covers this whole type of thing. In my country, we have these packaged, dried, flavored peas. They sell them in the chips crisps aisle at the supermarket and are marketed as a healthy alternative to chips. All the middle-aged women at my work who love diet culture and who are perpetually trying to lose weight eat them and keep trying to get all us younger people to eat them because they're so much healthier than that junk you're eating, meaning the small kid-sized packet of chips I have in my lunch every day. Thing of it is, the chips I buy literally have 3 ingredients: potato, oil, and salt. Nothing else. Those dried peas have a long list of ingredients full of things I can't pronounce and a shitload of sugar. Story 23. Listening to crackpot? Alternative medicine. Alternative medicine has its place, but Jesus Christ, if I have another middle-aged lady tell me I can cure all of my ailments that has no cure or treatment, and they don't even know what causes it, I might lose it. Please do your research with alternative medicine. There are stuff that works, but don't expect a detox diet to fix your cancer, your chronic illness, etc. Story 24. Forgiveness. Sometimes it does us more harm than good. I copied this that I read the other day. Toxic forgiveness is an unhealthy way that people pretend to be unharmed, over it, or forgetful of the offense. Forgiving to keep the peace or people-pleasing is not healthy for your mental health or your relationships. Take time to process your pain, slowly rebuild trust, and decide if you need to show up differently in the relationship. Forgiving and forgetting is not a realistic approach to moving forward. Repeat after me. It's okay that I'm not over things that hurt and I don't need to pretend. Story 25. Going to therapy assumed you have no mental health problems, just minor struggles. Not everyone needs a therapist, and a therapist is only going to help you if you are willing to help yourself. Plus, there are way too many psychologists with limited qualification who won't benefit no one. Don't get me wrong, I believe in psychiatry and psychology. I'm all in for destigmatizing mental struggle, but therapy is not a solution to all your life problems. It's okay to be okay. Story 26. Gluten-free food? Okay, the whole gluten-free thing I can only imagine started with a telephone game taken to the extreme. Gluten itself is not bad. What happens is that there is a small portion of the population that is intolerant to gluten. If they eat it, it will harm them. This is where the confusion of the matter begins. It happened out that when these people stopped eating gluten, they started to feel good. It's obvious. So as a result of this, who knows how it started? A rumor arose that if people in general stopped eating gluten, they would feel fine. This is only true for people who are gluten intolerant. So all those who stopped eating gluten without being intolerant are not really making any difference. Gluten never hurt them, and they could continue eating it and take advantage of the nutrients it gives to the body. Giving up gluten isn't necessarily healthy unless you're intolerant. So overprotective parents, make an ordinary cake for your child's birthday. If he is not intolerant, don't make him look like the weirdo in the classroom or the neighborhood. Story 27. Low-fat and fat-free products. Removing fat from products often means adding sugar or artificial ingredients to compensate for lost flavor and texture. Some fats are healthy and necessary for bodily functions, so these products can end up being less healthy than their full-fat counterparts. Multigrain and wheat breads. Just because bread is labeled multigrain or contains wheat doesn't mean it's whole grain or healthy. Many of these products still primarily use refined grains, which lack the fiber and nutrients found in whole grains. Granola, often packed with sugar and high in calories, granola can quickly turn from a healthy snack to something more akin to dessert. Juicing and detox diets. While fruits and vegetables are healthy, relying solely on juices or extreme detox diets can lead to a lack of essential nutrients, muscle loss, and an unhealthy relationship with food. Moreover, your liver and kidneys naturally detox your body, so these diets aren't necessary for most people. Story 28. Tampons. Besides the fact that they are disgusting in general, our vag lining is very sensitive, and if those tampons have any unhealthy ingredients, even in small quantities, it can cause all kinds of problems for us women. Yes, pads can have the same unhealthy ingredients, but they aren't resting inside of us, leaning on said sensitive lining for hours at a time. The chemicals can cause cancer, hormonal imbalances, and more. The best option are sanitary cups. Second best are pads, and tampons aren't in the equation. Also, LPT, if you refuse to stop using tampons, at least know that there's no such thing as a flushable tampon or wipe. Always throw them in the trash. Story 29. Products that say they're vegan and cruelty-free just because they're technically vegan doesn't mean that they're not pumped full of chemicals, and cruelty-free could mean they don't do animal testing. But that doesn't mean that they aren't made in a factory with shit labor conditions. I used to work for an eyelash extension brand, and that was all over our packaging, but the glue and lashes were all plastic and chemicals drop shipped from a factory in China. My boss said did not have a clean facility. Story 30. Running. On average, if you run regularly, studies show you only get a few extra years of life. But what good is that if you spent all that time running, showering extra from your runs, planning your runs, etc. Also, running is really hard on your body, your knees in particular. It's actually a really stupid form of exercise. Story 31. Diet drinks are really just sugars processed in a different way, but they are still ultra-processed sugars. If you have to choose between a regular soda or a diet soda, even the regular one would be healthier, but it's best not to drink either. I'm not saying don't take one every once in a while, maybe once every 2 weeks, but taking a liter a day as a sport makes you very sick. Story 32. Forgiving people for their actions. In no way I will forgive my parents for having abused me since I was young, but at the very least improve for my younger sister. I've tried forgiving all this time. It only worsened my health. I got depression, anxiety. I was suicidal. Very healthy, right? Now that I'm getting to terms that to accept that it happened and forgiving their actions is not the same thing, and it is not healthy just to forgive. Always forgive. Story 33. Lots of people seem to be saying like, yeah, it's not healthy, so many calories. Like, yeah, the example given ISNT, but because there's calories isn't the reason. Avocado is healthy, delicious, and has lots of calories. It's a great thing to include in your diet if you like it. Yeah, maybe not too much if you're trying to lose weight, but it's pretty healthy. On the flip side, calorie-free things are great for weight loss, but might be full of questionable legal in 2 countries, USA and another one you've never heard of, ingredients that might give you cancer or some shit. TLDR, calories are important. Pay attention to what foods are high and low. Roughly tracking each one isn't RLY healthy for your mental to reach your goals, but pay more attention to nutrients, healthy carbs and fats, protein, etc., etc. And have treats once in a while. Maybe not every day, but enjoy the treats you get. Be mentally healthy enough to not think about it too hard if you're getting an ice cream with your friend. Story 34. This high-protein fad. You need enough protein, not more. So eating candy bars, smoothies, etc. artificially infused with protein won't make you healthier than if you eat the right foods and get what you need. You don't need to eat a ton of meat or down a protein shake unless you are seriously working out very hard. It's a fad. And people think the added grams of protein outweighs other shit that's bad for you. Story 35. A lot of fad diets like keto or no fat or any other diet you might find in a magazine or that one friend at Zumba class told you about. Well, they aren't inherently unhealthy, but more often than not, they're used for weight loss. And as a personal trainer, I see far too often that people yo-yo diet, which is just diet hopping and following your diet one day to cheat the next. Diet hopping is very unhealthy not only physically but can develop into eating disorders. On top of all that, you make no progress with a yo-yo diet. Story 36. A lot of diet culture isn't really healthy these days because in the process of trying to lose weight by cutting out certain foods, they end up cutting out necessary things like sugars and fats. Your body needs those for energy and heat. It's good to cut out processed things with added sugars and better to get them from natural sources like fresh fruits and juices. Story 37. Love this. They all have something to sell. Literally, the only way I have ever controlled my weight is with a combination of intermittent fasting and calorie reduction. Eating or drinking some over-processed cardboard-tasting expensive supplements, while also skipping a meal which triggers the digestive system to use calories, instead of switching to fat burning via the liver. It just doesn't work. Just not eating and only drinking water or other sugar-free drinks for 14, 18 hours is easier, and actually seems to trigger stored energy to be released from my body. I end up going on a cleaning bender or throw myself into a project which burns calories too. Love it and just wish I had discovered it earlier in life.